Hello. Well, as promised, I'm going to now teach you how to digitize the whole tiny teddy. So my last video was about an issue with the auto-digitizing centerline tool and how to fix it. So I will link to that video in the description because it forms part of this lesson, so I don't have to go over it again. The teddy, if you want to follow along exactly, you can get the pattern along with notes, digitizing notes that I have prepared to go with this video, and also construction notes on how to put the teddy bear together. I've put those all together in my PayHip store for just $2 Australian, so I'll put a link to that below too, so you can go and purchase that if you want to follow along exactly. But if you just want to watch and learn the techniques I use, that's fine too. You don't have to purchase the pattern. You can create your own, or you can just use the things you learn in whatever you do. This tiny teddy I think is really quite cute. It's very simple to stitch out, and it finished, it's about 9 centimeters high and about 8 centimeters wide. There's a little bit of hand stitching at the end, but most of it's done in the hoop, and there's a little bit of machine stitching before you start as well, but all of that will be covered as we go through. So he would look great as a bag hanger. Hang it on your luggage so you can find your luggage from everybody else's at the airport. Although he probably gets stolen. He would look great on a baby's mobile. You could make several of different colours. You could leave this piece off and put an initial on there. You could hang it on a gift. There's all sorts of things you can do with him. He has a little loop here. If you don't want the loop there and you just want to make it as a tiny teddy for a baby to grab hold of, there are no buttons or anything that can come off for the baby to swallow, so it's quite a safe toy to give to a small child as well. So all sorts of options there, and I think you'll have fun learning how to digitize it. All right, let's delete that image and begin the lesson. So we're going to open a new design, and which I've already done. So open your software, and of course you can do this in Creator Level as well. I am in Designer Plus, but Creator Level people can do this as well. So when you open a new design from the home page, so if I just go back home for a minute, here you would click on new design, and your new design would open just as I had showed you a minute ago. If you've already opened something, you don't want to open another new design, you can just go to embroidery canvas and that will take you back to where you were. So if you'd already done some digitizing, you would go straight back there. I always recommend to try and remember to name your design straight away, and you can name that easily by just clicking on the Save Design icon up here, and you can choose where you want to put it, and I'm going to just put it on the desktop for the moment because I won't need to keep, no, actually I might find a place for that in a minute. But you would put where you want it and you would give it a name. I'll leave it there for the moment, and I'll just give it a name. So I'll call it Tiny Teddy YouTube because I'm doing this one for YouTube. Okay, and I can save it. Now you will see your name up here, and you won't accidentally delete it. It will prompt you to save if you try to close the design. So it's always a good idea to give your design a name right at the beginning before you start all your hard work. All right. We've saved our design. Now we're going to click on the insert artwork, and so if you're following along and you've purchased the artwork, that's basically the pattern that I was talking about, then you can insert it now. Otherwise, you would insert whatever outline of a teddy that you're going to use. And that's the cut line. I've got to find the pattern. I think that's here. Tiny Teddy JPEG, that one. Open. So you, as I said, this will, I'm just going to go 1 to 1, and we can also go to fit. So 1 to 1 on the magnifying glass will put it actual size, and zoom to fit will fill the whole screen. Okay. So this is the pattern. It has an outline, it has the facial features, it has the little tummy line, and it has a line at the top and a line at the bottom. They are going to be the placement lines for the backing fabric. The backing fabric is seamed down the middle with an opening in the middle here so that you can turn him easily. His neck's too narrow to turn his head through, so it was easier to have an opening down the back, centre back. And there's a little line here which will be the placement line for the loop, and that's optional. If you don't want to put it on, you can skip that part. Now, we don't want this image to move around, so while it's selected, if it's not selected, if you don't see those handles there, then left click on it to select it, then right click on it and come down to lock and left click on that, or you can press K on your keyboard, and that will lock the image, which means I can't now select that image and accidentally move it. So if I'm moving things around, embroidery objects around on top of him, I won't accidentally move the image. Also, you'll see a little lock appear in at the bottom of the image over here. Now, you're not seeing the actual image, you're seeing a little picture of a sailboat. That's because if you're seeing that, it's because you're in colour blocks mode. If you go to show objects, it will actually show a little picture of a teddy bear there, and you can expand this larger if you want to see it bigger. Okay, and you just hover over the border between the workspace and the colour film, and you'll get that little symbol which you can slide backwards and forwards. If you're short on digitising space, make your colour film narrower. If you've got plenty of real estate on your screen, you can make it wider so it's easier to see. Okay. Now, when I clicked zoom to fit, the other option there, of course, is hitting 0 on your keyboard, and that will also zoom to fit, so we've filled the screen. Now, we're going to use the auto digitizing tools, and I'm going to expand the auto digitizing tools, and I'm going to use Magic Wand Centerline because I want to get an outline of the teddy, okay, around the outside without having to click all the way around. So I choose Magic Wand Centerline, and I'll come over. You'll see that little can't do anything sign, and then it'll turn back to the selection sign when you get to the image. Left click on the image and you will get your Prepare Bitmap option open here. You've got an image on the left, which is your original bitmap, and the processed bitmap on the right. What you're looking for is to make sure that your lines all connect up. Now, when you look at it at this resolution, which is whatever your computer comes up with as far as the size here, you may think that there's little gaps. So up here you've got some zoom tools. You can hit on the zoom plus and it will zoom you in further. And you can see whether your outline is actually one solid line. Now, to move around the screen, you need to pan, and all you do is left click and your cursor will change to a hand, and you can move around and pan around that image to make sure there's no gaps in that outline. Had there been gaps, you could have adjusted the details here. So you might have had to go more details or less details if you've got too much black. So there's all sorts of things that could go on there. I'm just going right around him to make sure there's no gaps anywhere on the outline. And it appears to be 1 or maybe 2 pixels wide at the most. I can't go in any further by the looks of it. Oh yes, there we go. Oh, maybe 3 pixels in some places, but it's a very narrow line. But it is more than 1 pixel wide, so that's worth. I'm zooming with my mouse, so you can zoom with your mouse too, and then left click and pan. Alright, so we'll zoom back. I'm happy with that, my whole outline, and that's all I'm going to auto-digitize. The whole outline is one line. So just in case it's too wide, I don't want it to turn into a satin or a fill around that outline. I want just a running stitch. I'm using the Magic Wand Centerline. Okay. Now you should only have 2 colours over here in the colours. The first one is white and the second one is black, or nearly black. It's not actually black because this image wasn't created solid black, but you have only got 2 colours. Okay, so it'll come out a grey sort of colour, a very dark charcoal grey. In future I'll try and make sure my images are actually black and white if I do this sort of thing again. So, but I only have 2 colours. That's the most important thing. If I had more than 2 colours I would need to sort that out, but I've tried this with other girls on other computers and everybody only got 2 colours, so it should be right. Now, when you're happy with all of that, so we don't need to reduce the colours or increase the colours, and we don't need to play around with the details, we can go OK. Now when we hover over, we see a mesh appear over the teddy bear. Now you have to zoom right in because we need the mesh over the outline. And you can see here where the outline goes more narrow and wider in various places. That's just the nature of how the pixels were read by the software. We're going to left click in that outline space. So we now have stitching around that outline. If I zoom back, we can see stitching. If I can dim the image maybe. Yes, and it's a bit more obvious then that, I can't get off without the hatching, but it's a bit more obvious that there is stitching there once I dim the image. Alright, so even though it's locked, you can still dim it. Okay, we can actually hide the image as well. So there you are, there's just the stitching. Now at this point in time, I'd like you to go and watch the other video about this centre line because it is not actually just one single line. I will quickly just play it here for you. So we're watching it stitch out around here, just following the stitching. It's going to go around, and what we only wanted was one single run right round the teddy. And if you've already watched my other video you'll know that. Okay, and it gets to here, but then it goes back. It's a bit hard to see, but it is actually tracing all the way back. And if we zoom in, there's a little gap here. Just trying to get it to zoom in, but it's auto-scrolling for the tracing. So if I stop that, oh no, I'll have to get it all the way to the end. Okay, and stop it. And if I zoom in, the gap doesn't show, but it does show when you do your first round before it traces all the way back. So it's kind of doing something funny here. And the other video is all about that. So rather than me waste time going over all that again, pop down to that link below the video and go and watch that other video and then come back and watch this one. Okay? Actually, we've been going 14 minutes, so what I'll do is I'll end this video, go and watch the other one, and I'll have another video for how to move on. Thank you very much.